What's up, Top 10 fam? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now there are so many stories and movies that involve someone just looking at their reflection in the mirror and just crying about being ugly. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm really kidding. Although I'm sure that's a thing. But no, people actually look into the mirror and their reflections just aren't mirroring their movements. Or some demon ghost thing just comes out of the mirror and kills them, and it's really just one or the other. And with that being said, these are the top 10 cursed mirrors you must never look in. Starting us off with number 10 is the cover. A boy called Juan heard this story from his cousin while visiting him in Veracruz, Mexico. His cousin told him he had found this huge Victorian style mirror at an antique store in the mall a few months ago and decided to get it. Now the shopkeeper was quite hesitant to sell it to him, warning him to cover it with a heavy cloth every time the sun sets. The cousin thought this was a bit bizarre and took it with a grain of salt and went on his way. That night he hung it in his bedroom, admired his reflection as we all would have, and then covered it with the bed sheet like instructed. He then was just chilling on his couch as the sun set, and all of a sudden he started hearing this knocking sound. No one was at his front door, and he followed the sound to his bedroom and realized it was coming from behind the sheet. His reflection was moving completely autonomously and smiling while doing so. While the cousin was in awe of what he was seeing, he felt something grab him, and it was the reflection. It was trying to pull him into the mirror, but he managed to overpower the reflection at the last second. At that point, paralyzed with fear, he ran the hell out of the house, went to his friend's place, and the next day they came by and burned the mirror in a fire. And good riddance too. We don't need evil reflections just trying to pull you into their mirror world. None of that for us. No, we stay on this side of the mirror, people. This side. Coming in at number 9 is the girl who hated mirrors. So back in May of 1999, 13-year-old Phoebe was sent to a psychiatrist because of self-image neurosis. She hated mirrors because she thought she looked fat and spotty in all of them. Despite her having great skin and being fairly skinny, she just could not be convinced that she wasn't fat and spotty. Her psychiatrist Hiram Davies asked her why she hated mirrors, and she said she didn't hate all of them, but the one in her hallway hated her, and that there was someone real evil inside that mirror. She said she touched the mirror and it didn't feel like cold hard glass, it felt like a slimy membrane. She went on saying her mum had a breakdown after they got the mirror, saying she had bad crow's feet and wrinkles and that she looked like a dog. In their dad's shaving mirror though, her mum looked completely fine, but in the hallway mirror she looked horrendous. Continuing on, she said her dad started dyeing his hair after getting the mirror and wearing a cap because he thought he was receding. Her brother Jake started shaving his eyebrows because the mirror showed him that he had a unibrow. Now convinced after hearing all these stories, the doctor decided to go see the mirror for himself, and when he did, he understood exactly what Phoebe had meant. In the mirror, it looked like he had one lazy eye and that his toupee just looked very fake. He felt small and empty, and Phoebe went upstairs and came back with a bat and started just bashing the hell out of the mirror to pieces. Thankfully, none of the shards hit either of them, but they did find something weird. On the back of the mirror, there was a face of a woman with a horribly sinister smile. The face then faded as quickly as it had appeared, and everyone was just examining the mirror trying to figure out what the hell had just happened. The mirror was from the attic of a house that was being renovated, but no one knew the history of the house, who had owned it beforehand, just nothing. We just see this creepy face, then it's gone. At least the mirror is smashed though. At least there's that. At number 8 we have the scratches. Now this story was shared by the user Nuko from Australia, who said she lives opposite an old building. Her and her cousin went to explore it, and inside they found a bunch of non-functional things and a weirdly clean mirror. As a fine art student looking for a surface to paint on, the user took the mirror home, deframed it and cleaned it. That night she painted a portrait of herself and left it out to dry. The next day she woke up to find long scratches going up and down the painting, and then sort of creating a diamond diagonal shape of some kind. And the paint was also raised a bit too, like you know when you put your finger on paint and lift it and it kind of makes it slightly textured, like that. Either way, the scratches were definitely not made with fingernails, since they were just too clean and evenly spaced, so it looked like they were made with some pointy instrument. And there were no paint smudges around her room. She has no siblings, so that couldn't have been it. She lived with her grandma and mum, and neither of them would have done it, so she had no idea who ruined her mirror painting, and so she decided to dispose of it altogether and put it in her shed. And now every time she goes in there, she just feels like some entity or presence is just in the shed watching her. I mean, to be fair, the fact she found a completely clean mirror in an old collapsing building should have been the first indication that was about to go tits up. And it did. Filling our number 7 slot is the Shattering. This one was shared by an anonymous person who said their friend had recently moved into a new house. While cleaning one day, his friend had accidentally knocked down a hanging mirror and shattered it completely. Well, that's 7 years of bad luck. Annoyed since he had just cleaned and vacuumed, he laid the mirror on the kitchen table and went to his basement to get a broom. When he finally found it and made his way upstairs, all the glass shards that had been on the floor and scattered were now laying in the frame perfectly like a finished puzzle. The friend was home alone firstly, and secondly he had only been downstairs for a total of 1 minute, 2 max, and with the amount of pieces there were on the ground, it would have been impossible to assemble it that quickly, whoever did do it. So what's going on? What is going on, people? Now at number 6 is the highest bidder. Roommates Satyrus and Joseph were thrilled when they found a large Victorian mirror in a dumpster outside their apartment in London. They hung it up above the radiator in their house, but soon after things started going wrong. Satyrus started waking up in the middle of the night due to stabbing pains all through his body, and Joseph started feeling very depressed and just energyless despite being fine 2 days prior. At this point, neither of them linked the happenings to the mirror, and Satyrus decided to paint the mirror's frame for more of a pop of color in the room to maybe bring some more life back into their lives. And after that, Joseph started getting the body pains too, and things around the house started to go missing. Then here and there, Joseph would see strange movements in the mirror, like one day he was home alone and saw dark shadows flickering on the surface when he was standing perfectly still. The roommates confronted their landlord and he admitted the mirror used to be his, but that he wanted nothing to do with it. And then the nightmares started, and the boys hated being home alone, and Joseph was getting even more unhappy. They theorized something horrible must have happened in front of the mirror, and it somehow absorbed all that negative energy into itself. A few days later, their radiator and landline stopped working, which was just the final straw at this point. The boys ended up putting the mirror on eBay with the details of all the shit that happened to them and sold it to the highest bidder for I think 150 something pounds, which is not bad, honestly. For a cursed mirror, not bad at all. Coming in at number 5 is the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Now the hotel was built in the 20s, which was basically LA's golden era. It's 12 stories high, bougie as hell, had 300 guest rooms, 63 suites, and it was no stranger to celebrity guests. People like Shirley Temple, Charlie Chaplin, Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway, Brad Pitt, Marilyn Monroe, and many more all stayed at the hotel at some point. Monroe actually lived in the hotel for 2 years at the start of her career, and it's said she never really left. There's a full-length mirror in her suite that's been there since her days at the hotel, and guests staying at the Roosevelt have reported seeing Marilyn gazing at them through the mirror as if she's looking at herself. Honestly, the whole dead Hollywood starlet thing just really appeals to me. Like, I know it's a huge tragedy, but like, it's just so mysterious. Like, so many things could have happened behind the scenes that we don't even know, you know what I mean? At number 4 is the Black Surface. The Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and Occult was started by Greg Newkirk and his wife Dana. They collect objects that they or others deem haunted or cursed, and so they've acquired many strange things over the years, one of these things being a mirror. A few years ago, Greg was called by an anonymous woman claiming to have a small mirror with black glass. She said her mum got the mirror during a psychic expo and afterwards began acting very quiet and withdrawn, and she even stopped eating. The woman decided to take the mirror from her mum and put it in her own house, but a few days passed and she realized she had felt uneasy and uncomfortable ever since the mirror entered her house, and hence she contacted Greg offering to give it to him, to which he skeptically agreed. The couple took the mirror with them on their next tour, and on their first stop in Pennsylvania, things became a lot more clear. A woman picked up the mirror and then within seconds turned ghostly white, put the mirror down and quickly covered it with a cloth. When asked what she saw, the woman said she had seen her own corpse in the reflection and that the mirror was extremely dark. At another location, another woman had claimed to have seen her corpse as well, but one man said he had seen his reflection turn around and walk out of the frame. One said her reflection began to whisper things to her despite her herself not even opening her mouth. I'm just saying, freaking weird. Filling our number 3 slot is Myrtle's Plantation. So we've all heard about the infamous Myrtle's Plantation in Louisiana, since it's basically one of the most haunted locations in the South. But what many people may not know is that inside it there's a haunted mirror that's been in the house for over 2 centuries. Sarah Woodruff lived in the house with her husband Clark, who the house was given to. And I know there have been countless ghost stories and sightings about a ghost called Chloe on the plantation, but this one claims Sarah is the one that's permanently trapped in in this mirror since the 19th century. Tourists who visit the plantation for ghost tours have seen weird things in the photos they take in front of the mirror. Some see creepy shadows, some see an array of shiny orbs, some have even seen fingerprints and silvery apparitions standing on the staircase reflected into the mirror into their photos. And they're all 110% sure that those figures were not present when the photo was taken, so where the hell did they come from? Honestly, that house is filled to the brim and is oozing bad juju, and we all know it, so the whole place is haunted, so I would not be the least bit surprised if this one mirror was haunted too. Like, what else is new? That's logic. The whole place is gonna be haunted, the mirror's gonna be haunted too. Now at number 2 is the writing. This one comes from Reddit user Kenzie14, who said she had just moved into her new house around 5 months prior, and one of her best friends had just slept over the night before. Kenzie decided to take a shower after her friend left, which was no big deal since she had taken like a billion showers in that bathroom, so it was just like an everyday ting. Either way, when she finishes, she's drying up on the mat and looks up at the steamed up mirror. She literally drops her towel because out of nowhere there was a bunch of perfect handwriting on the mirror. And I can't even describe to you how perfect it was. She claimed it was almost computerized, like no human could have done it. The sentences started with "Dear Father, please forgive me," but Kenzie forgot the rest of the words, so she just got out of there as fast as possible, as anyone would. Now she was home alone at the time, her best friend hadn't showered there, no one else used that bathroom but her, and she definitely didn't write anything on the mirror herself. Now the bathroom door was also locked the entire time she was showering, so no one could have come inside, did the writing, and then left, so she had no idea how it got there, but she didn't want to find out either. That's just creepy because it's real, like it's so real, like ugh. Like sometimes I write messages for myself like on the mirror, like when I come out and it's like, oh you look great, shit like that, but like this, no. And finally at number 1 is Oculus. Now this one is actually a horror movie that came out back in 2013, but it probably includes the worst mirror to look into of all time, I kid you not. So the film follows siblings Tim and Kaylee, whose dad buys an antique mirror for his office. However, this mirror supernaturally induces hallucinations, and these hallucinations are freaking bad. The mother of the family, Marie, keeps seeing her own body decaying due to the mirror, whereas Alan starts getting seduced by a ghost woman called Marisol who has mirrors instead of eyes. Appealing, very appealing. The parents start getting worse as their hallucinations become more frequent. Alan isolates himself, Marie becomes increasingly paranoid, all the plants start dying in the house, the dog gets shut in the office overnight with the mirror and disappears the following morning. Like a lot is just happening. Marie even attempts to kill the kids at one point and Alan locks her away, but at this point the kids now realize their parents are under the influence of the goddamn mirror. They try calling for help, but all their calls are answered by the same man. And one night, both parents even tried to kill the kids, and I'm not gonna say any more because I basically ruined the whole plot anyway, but boy, it is a must watch, you guys. This mirror, not to be messed with, really not. Anyway, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed all these mirror stories, and I know I made some jokes at the beginning about like looking fugly when you look into the mirror, but honestly, everyone's pretty, everyone's gorgeous, everyone is enough. You guys are perfect, you don't have to feel any less than when you look into the mirror, just, you know, like my friendly PSA at the end of the video. Either way, as always, I'm your host Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!